in and around Bournemouth University. My name's Josh Saunders, and today's show is packed full of interesting topics. Last week was London Fashion Week. Today we have with us 4 of our very own fashion students studying at AUCB who are graduating this year and preparing for their final pieces. So, guess, can you tell us just a bit about yourself first of all?
My name is Michael, I'm a menswear designer on the BA Fashion course.
My name is Oda and I'm a women's wear designer. My name is George, I'm a women's wear designer.
I'm Stephen, I'm a menswear designer.
Okay, and I suppose obviously you've got this big project coming up very, very soon. The time is ticking away very slowly. I mean, who are your inspirations for your projects?
I think inspiration is kind of drawn from all over really, and I think we're kind of encouraged to be very conceptual and quite theoretical with the kind of the backstory and the narrative to all our collections. But I think it's a different process for everyone. I think you know, it would be a different process if, you know, say you're a print designer or you're, you know, a garment designer or an accessories designer. I think, you know, sometimes, you know, it's, I mean, I think you guys, do you want to talk about your
I tend to go back in time a little bit and go towards like early 70s, 80s and look at old images, things like that, and pull from old fashion. And then try and put my twist on it.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of people always say that kind of fashion always comes back round in a loop, and so obviously things that were fashion about 20, 30 years ago will come back. So is that the case?
Yeah, definitely, and then you just put your own, well I tend to anyway, put my own spin on it and update it a bit more. Make it more towards you as a designer and not just copying something from the past.
I think it's important to have a kind of respect for the history of garments or you know, the history of fashion, because obviously, as you said, it's quite cyclical, but then kind of taking it in a new direction. And I think that's what keeps fashion current.
Yeah, those kind of new adaptations too.
Exactly, because I think people kind of, you know, as customers, consumers, I think people rely on certain, you know, garments or certain, you know, fashion products, and I think, you know, something that is kind of updated and kind of, you know, fresh. Use that word. Is you know, I think it's totally necessary and keeps everything alive. I think and keeps people interested.
Yeah.
What about you? You two are working together in
Yeah, I normally take inspiration from like natural objects, so like flowers or something like that, and make it more conceptual by taking my own images of them and distorting them and maybe using the colour palette from them. But we're working as a brand, so me and Oda are working together. We're going to do our collections separately, but they may work together as a thing. So our inspirations are different, but they're going down the same route, and we're looking at doing haute couture referencing to like finishing and everything, so it's going to be referencing the past as in the seams and the finishing, but making it modern by using different fabrics, modern
new
techniques,
materials, maybe with contrasting colours but still kind of flowing together.
It sounds very interesting. I mean, it'd be more exciting when obviously you do have these final projects. I mean, how are they going so far? Are you guys near the finishing line, or is it still quite early on in the project?
No, we're very much in the midst of it at the moment. I think everyone's kind of at twirling stage, and if anyone doesn't really know what twirling is, it's kind of modelling the garments or the product in a kind of very close to the end, how the end product will be, solving problems, troubleshooting, and just basically preparing yourself to produce the entire collection of product in the final fabric or materials or whatever it may be, so that it's as refined as possible, ready for the catwalk. So,
yeah. I mean, I suppose one of the big things in the fashion industry is kind of establishing your own identity and kind of making that difference so that you're standing out from what's out there already. I mean, what do you guys think is your individual stances?
I mean, I think design identity is something that's pushed forward with the course in general. I mean, it's actually a massive unit in the second year, and really discovering who you are as a creative and who you are as you know, a designer of, you know, whether it's women's wear, menswear, and really kind of, you know, pinning it down and again refining it. But I think, you know, we've all been through that process, and it's a
discovering who you are, thing, and sticking to it as a person. Like, you don't want to copy someone else, and you don't want to be someone else. The best way to do it is like actually, it sounds corny, but be yourself and not change because someone's telling you, oh, this is cool, this is something you should do. It's just do what you want to do. vision.
Absolutely.
Kind of go back to the inspiration really, because inspiration changes with every season, but you always have to put you in there, so you have to be really like, it's the philosophy of who you are,
Yeah.
who you are as a brand and as a designer, but also like how you present yourself.
It's
So-
keeping who you are, but keeping your placement in your market
Yeah.
right, and keeping it current. I think that's probably a very key thing.
And if each of you were to describe your projects in kind of 3 words, I know it's a very difficult task, but could you describe your collections in 3 words? I mean, I might give you 2 6 because you work
No,
together.
we have 3 words
have 3.
actually as a branding, so yeah.
I would say mine's a mixture of fusion, colour, texture. It's very clean. Sorry, use 4 words.
That's all right, we'll let you off. We'll let you off.
Yeah, no, ours is kind of, we're aiming for beautiful, expressful, but with like a modern approach. So that's kind of the 3
modern
words.
twist.
Yeah, so that's kind of the 3 words we use for our branding as well, and we'll use on our website and stuff. So
Yeah. And
I'd say mine's reflective, sporty, and it's fun as well.
okay. All very good words to describe all your projects.
On the spot.
I mean, yeah, especially on the spot as well. I mean, how much freedom have you all had with your projects? I mean, obviously, you do have lectures overseeing it and marketing. I mean, do they have a guiding hand, or is it kind of you?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, we're given a lot of responsibility and a lot of, kind of independent study time, but, that is married with, guidance from tutors who are industry professionals, and, that contact is there all the time.
We have stage
and-
reviews, like
Yeah.
at every stage of the point. So researching, development, trials, and then we'll have final lineup reviews. So they do. We have like
Permanent
feedback with them.
contact.
it is all like a professional dialogue really, because
is,
it's in the end it's your project, and it's where you are and how we're going to sell yourself as a brand and as a designer. But then you need help, because sometimes you're on the wrong track, or sometimes they want you to move more into that market because they see potential for it. So it's literally just to have an open dialogue, both with like peers in the class, but
Absolutely.
also like
it's a
with-
professional working environment, and I think that's the best way to describe it. It's, you need that for when you go out into the industry. So, it's almost like start as you sort of intend to go on, as it were. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
We have a good overseeing eye over us. They won't let us go down the wrong route.
No.
Anything stupid. But yeah, we get a lot of freedom with it.
Yeah. I mean, what do you all see yourselves doing after, obviously, this graduate show? I mean, are you kind of hoping to be kind of picked up by fashion designers from there, or what will you guys do after you leave the comforts of uni
Yeah.
and enter into the world?
into an international arena. I think it's, I think every one of us here has different kind of specialisms and different kind of areas of strengths, I think. I think what's most exciting for me personally is kind of sort of seeing sort of what companies are out there in terms of what I could offer them I'm a pattern cutter sort of first and foremost, and a constructor, so seeing what I could offer them and would be fantastic, more than anything. But I know that everyone's kind of different.
It's scary, but ideally, like, me personally, I'd like to own my own brand under my own name. But yeah, it's quite a way off in the future. Yeah.
Have you got a name for it?
I'd
that you
run
feel-
it under my own name, Stephen
Okay.
Garvey. But
Well, we'll have to keep an eye out for the names. Then.
We've already been collaborating with a marketing and more of a PA that's working with us as a brand, and she's
Yeah.
doing the stand and everything for Graduate Fashion Week. So we're
Webpage.
working with webpage,
Media.
blog, and everything. So we've already set up Ren and I.
Yeah,
Have
Ren
it.
and I. So hopefully we can find some sponsors. That's a dream though. It might not happen, but at
Working
least
with
it's starting point.
architecture.
Yeah.
Architecture as well, to maybe shop layout. So we're going as a brand, and we're looking for maybe sponsoring and funding and things, so we can set up our brand when we leave. That's our aim.
Well, we'll have to keep
Big
an eye out for that, really. I mean, if you could all choose as one specific model to model your collections, who would you choose and why?
That's a really difficult question, because I think when you start to kind of, it's one thing to define your market, but it's another to kind of, define a collection by putting it on sort of one specific person. So I would have to sort of pass on that question, because I think I'd want my clothing to be kind of accessible to everyone. I think, and obviously there, a market level is I would say quite sort of a young professional kind of age, but I think in terms of keeping it open to for anyone to wear, because I think sometimes with marketing campaigns they can kind of focus too much on sort of one look, as it were. I think if you define it to one person, it can kind of I don't know, kind of ruin it sometimes, maybe a little bit. But I think everyone's different.
Yeah, for us, we were talking about that. It's not who's wearing it, but how that person feels when he's wearing it. So that's the importance, and that's we're going to more like couture, ready to wear now for collections. But we wanna, when we gain a lot more money and earn a lot more money, we want to make one of a kind pieces. Yeah. So it's more about everyone. It's a customer. That person, every single person will be like a personal relationship. That's what we want, and it's really important about how that person feel and how that garment actually sits on that person. So it's just like you said, like you want it to be accessible for everyone.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think especially with with women's wear as well, but I think especially with menswear, with men being quite picky about what they wear, they need kind of staple pieces, or they want staple pieces that they can kind of add to their wardrobe, their already existing wardrobe. And kind of mix and match and feel comfortable in the clothing. It's not too theatrical, it's not too kind of out there, it's it's quite clean and it can be mixed and matched with sort of things they already own. And I think that's quite, personally from where I come from, that's quite an important thing to have. So I think that's, it makes it really accessible to people.
I'd say if another designer for your clothing, though, you'd think that's another person in the same thing, sort of respect as well. I think that'd be awesome, like another designer for one piece.
Yeah,
would be amazing.
Absolutely.
No, I suppose that's the dream, really. I mean, having 4 very stylish fashion students here, I mean, you guys literally put the stars into fashionistas here. I'd just like to ask you what you think of my clothing today, how you would rate it as fashion students.
Kind of like twins.
Very chic. I'm going to go with
You can be bluntly honest, you'd be very cool. You can be my gox for this interview.
Yeah, very sharp, man. Yeah. And the attention to detail with the pocket square.
The little pocket square.
Pocket squares, these cool. I don't even know nowadays.
I don't have one though.
Should get one.
I know, I should get one. I'll get one though.
So, I mean, would you like to tell me just a bit more about your projects, really? I mean, you've already gave us like a very kind of brief snapshot. I mean, tell us a little bit more about your projects and what you're.
So we're going to work together, but we're working separately, like I already said. But we're focusing more on gowns and one-off pieces like, we're doing ready to wear couture at the moment, but it's going down the lines of beautiful dresses. They feel expressive, beautiful, with quite a lot of embellishment. You're doing quite a lot of ruffle details. I'm doing more dyeing and lace cutting and engraving and quite intricate details, but we took our inspirations from like natural things like mould and things. We took images of them and worked on Photoshop. It sounds quite weird, but it makes beautiful effects to dye and everything. And then
and like aging and conserve beauty, really.
I mean, I wouldn't have naturally thought of as mould being an inspiration for a collection.
It's weird. We went to Paris about 3 weeks ago on a fabric sourcing trip, and we found a wall of like it was on outside of a museum. It was all grasses and plants and everything, and then there was a beautiful wall, and then down the side there was just a strip of mould, and
that's where we went.
It sounds really weird. So I take pictures of mould, but it gives beautiful effects when you use the different effects on Photoshop. It brings out different colours. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, wow, so I look forward to seeing it.
I'm looking at 80s casual, so the whole sportswear thing, the Sergio Tacchini zip-throughs and that kind of thing. But I'm oversizing them. I'm looking at quite a contemporary twist on sportswear and mixing fabrics that shouldn't really be mixing, things like that. So it's quite experimental, but it's getting there. It's fun.
And I suppose if you have a few words just about your project, we're sadly running out of time.
That's all right. It's basically a very clean collection, mixture of textures and colours, but it is very ready to wear. So.
Great. But I mean, thank all of you for coming on and talking to us today. I mean, unfortunately, that is it for today's very fashionable Lunchbox show. Join us again tomorrow at the same time tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks to everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.